If you love podcasting as much as I do, you may be considering starting your own. Starting a podcast has been one of the best decisions I have ever made, but getting started can feel overwhelming. Buzzsprout is the easiest and most professional way to start a podcast. Buzzsprout has helped over 100,000 people launch their own podcasts, including me. Buzzsprout will launch your show on all of the major podcast platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Play, to name a few. You also get a podcast website, audio players that can be dropped into other websites, and stats of who is listening, and so much more. Buzzsprout also publishes blog posts, podcasts, and YouTube videos every week. They are great tools and have useful information from expert podcasters. To start your own podcast and get a $20 Amazon gift card, follow the link in our show notes. This lets Buzzsprout know that I sent you, and it supports my show. Buzzsprout, the easiest way to start a podcast.
Crime, Wine, and Chaos contains adult language and graphic content. Listener discretion is advised.
Hey, Chaos Kids. I'm Amber.
And I'm Naomi, and this is Crime, Wine, and Chaos. What is it about this, like, as soon as the record button gets pushed, I'm like giggly. I don't understand.
Because I don't know. I don't know.
I don't get it.
I love it. Hey,
hi, sister. How are you?
Hi. Oh, I am pretty good. What's new with you?
Oh, I mean, okay, look. Mm-hmm. I have been awake since 3:30 for no good reason. Yeah, I'm like following in your footsteps from the last time we recorded, and you had been awake since like 1:30.
Gross.
You remember that? Yeah, I get like less than 4 hours of sleep. I can't eat without getting sick, and I have all these other. I'm having hot. Look. I am a woman of a certain age, and it comes for us all. And I am officially experiencing the beginnings of the pause.
No,
that is what is happening.
No,
that is what is happening.
I am sorry.
And I am miserable, and I have lost a bunch of weight that I didn't need or want to lose because I can't eat, because it makes my stomach upset, and I'm having hot flashes, and oh my God, they're as bad as you've ever thought they would be.
Really?
And I cannot sleep. I cannot sleep. I cannot be comfortable. They come for me at night.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. And so I'm in this constant state of like throwing off the covers because I am dying. I am boiling from the inside out. And then it stops and I am freezing. So I'm grabbing the blankets again. And it's just this like back and forth endless cycle for... Yeah,
whole
so
night.
That's how I'm doing.
Oh,
hi,
good.
How are you doing?
That's not great.
Cover that already?
I'm doing better
I don't
than
remember.
that.
There's also brain fog that comes with that too. There's a little bit of brain fog.
Oh, I am so sorry, sister. Mm-hmm. That sounds miserable.
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
But here's the thing: if I have to experience it, our listeners have to hear about it.
Sure.
You know?
Oh,
yeah.
Is that the new? I didn't. Oh shit!
Yep,
well,
yep.
I've really dropped the ball on a lot of things.
Okay, well,
I
let's
didn't
hear
know
it.
This was
catch
a
us
full
up.
share circle.
Catch us up.
Oh God. Okay. Well, last time we recorded, as you said, I was had been up since 1 a.m. We finished at what, like 7 o'clock,
something like that. I think we did a double
header.
I went
to bed. I went straight to bed and slept until the next day.
Nice.
I was done.
I mean, I love that for you. I'm also like bitterly jealous.
Oh, well, you know, I have chronic insomnia. So every few months, my body just kind of catches up with me and I can't. So there's that. And, you know, just we did Tinfoil Top Hat live stream last weekend.
Oh, yeah. How'd it go?
It went okay. We had some technical issues, but our new drummer, Pat, is fucking amazing.
I didn't know you guys had a new drummer.
We have a new drummer. He got a total of 3 practices with us, and then we did a live stream, and he's just he's some sort of prodigy or something, you know?
Excellent. I love a prodigy.
He's amazing.
Love
Me
a prodigy.
Too. So that was really fun. And yeah, that's about it. That's all I got.
Yeah. And now we're back to it. It's, you know, it's January. Holidays are behind us. All the good things are gone. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Speaking of all the good things being gone, let me tell you about, oh wait, no, you tell me what you're drinking first. I forgot. You drink things.
Thank you for asking. I took a picture of it.
I know that there's like wine in the name of the podcast. I apologize.
That's okay. I'm drinking F. Stephen Miller Red from Calaveras County, a 2021. It is really robust. It's a one glass kind of.
Did you say you took a picture of the bottle again so that you wouldn't bring the bottle up and drink too much of it?
Yes.
Okay, just checking. That seems to be like a thing now for you. That's a thing you do.
It's tasty. And so, and it is a thing that I do. I already have sleeping issues. I don't need to have 2 glasses of wine on a work night and then try and yeah, we're not going to do that.
Yeah. No, I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I love that for you. I'm drinking water, of course, per usual. Speaking of, what's today? Today is Thursday. A week from today, which will be a couple weeks after this actually, couple weeks after, it will have been a couple weeks have gone by the time this episode airs. I will have 11 years clean officially.
Oh my gosh. Yay.
2 1s. 1 1.
1 1. Congratulations.
I'm a tween. I'm a tween now.
You are. Don't start getting all sassy.
What do you mean start?
I mean like
start?
tween sassy.
I don't think I ever left the tween sassy behind. I think I just kept that with me.
Yeah, that is so exciting.
It's good. It's good. It feels really good.
It's awesome. Good for you.
Let me tell you a bummer story.
Okay, love a bummer story.
Love a bummer story. This is a bit of an old one. This is an old one. This is the murder of Elli Immo. Immo? I'm going to pronounce some things horribly, and I need to apologize. We are going to Finland.
Okay.
Elli Maria Immo was born in August of 1935 in a small town in the Finnish Lapland, which is right on the border of Sweden. So Lapland is the northernmost part of Finland. It's like the least populated area of Finland. It's like very like more on the rural side of things, and everything's kind of like far away from each other, like the populations are sparse from each, right?
Yeah. Did you see that region at all when you were there?
No. No. We were in Turku, and then we were in Helsinki, which is about an hour or an hour and a half train ride to get from Turku to Helsinki. And so those are both like they're like south, the very southern part of Finland. Helsinki is right on it's on one of the big bodies of water there. The Baltic. I think it's the Baltic Sea.
Okay.
And like Estonia is like is south, like across the sea from Helsinki. They actually have boats that you can, like ferry boats you can take from Helsinki to like Estonia and other places around the Baltic Sea. Yeah. So no, this is way north, and we did not go there. It is very rural. So Elli was the eldest of. Oh, so you see, they were right on the border of Sweden and Finland. And Elli was the eldest of 5 children in the Immo family. She had 4 little brothers. Her father was a police constable, and he died rather suddenly in 1950 when Elli was 15. And after that, her mom moved the family about 20 miles away. And I'm going to be rounding up in miles because the stories were all in kilometers, of course.
Oh, no, of course.
Yeah, I know. So about 20 miles away to a small industrial city called Kemi. The population there was about 25,000. But was big for like the Lapland area, right? Like that was like they were living in a tiny little border town. Kemi was twice the size as the town that they moved from, and where Elli spent most of her childhood.
So it feels very busy to them.
It feels very busy to them, and by all accounts, Elli was made for a more cosmopolitan life. She loved it there. She went to school at the Kemi School of Economics. She worked a part-time job at a wallpaper and paint store, and she spent her free time like going dancing and going to the movies and hanging out in coffee shops with, making friends and like being out on the town. She was all about it.
Yeah.
She was
Awesome.
independent gal, getting an education and hanging out with her friends.
Good for her.
Elli's friends and classmates would describe her as sociable and open and honest and someone who couldn't be pushed around.
I like her.
I know, me too. Like, she sounds like my kind of gal. Me and Elli might have been friends. So Wednesday, December 7th, 1955, at then 20-year-old Elli had a totally normal day. She left for school at 8 a.m. When she got to school, she was telling her friends about the Christmas party she had attended the night before. She had a really great time. She was laughing. She was dancing with like a bunch of young men at this party, right? She got home from school in the afternoon. Her mom was already at work. She started her shift at the Pajusari sauna at 1 p.m. And for those who don't know, sauna is big. Sauna culture is like big time in Finnish culture. They
oh, really?
Yeah, no, the Finns claim to have invented sauna. It's a thing. Like they like everybody has a sauna. Like most families have a cabin in, outside of the city if they live in the city, and there's a sauna, and it's very like it's a thing. The whole family gets naked and saunas together. Like the whole family, like grandpa all the way down to the grandbabies and everybody in between. And they sit in the sauna, they get way too hot, and then they run out of the sauna and they like roll around in the snow naked, and then they go back into the sauna. It's a whole thing. Sauna culture is huge, and there's lots of public sauna houses all throughout Finland. Yeah.
And they all have beautiful, glowing, dewy skin.
That's right. That's exactly right. There's another culture, I want to say, in South America who is also big on sauna. And they are like rival Finland with their claim that they invented sauna. So it's a thing.
Sauna wars. Okay.
Sauna wars. Yeah, totally. So her mom works at at a public sauna. Her shift started at 1. So she was gone by the time Elli got home from school. Elli heated up the stoves to warm up the house, which was a chore she normally did. She did some of her schoolwork. She left her bags and her books all over the living room floor. The oldest of Elli's little brothers was off completing his compulsory military service, which Finland had. I don't know if they still do, but they had at the time. No, this was like 1950. What did I say it was? 1955. And, they had been pretty devastated by World War II. I read somewhere that Lapland had, the Nazis retreated through Lapland, at one point near the end of the war and burned like half the buildings across that part of the country.
It always goes back to the Nazis.
It always goes back to the Nazis. So, the oldest of her little brothers was off doing service. The other 3 brothers had plans to attend a children's Christmas party put on by a local company. It was a big party. It was for like elementary and high school kids. So Elli had a really good friend named Mela, and they'd met about 3 years prior at a dance. I think there was a lot of dances. I think that was a thing. I know.
Sounds fun.
I know. Like they had a lot of dances. Probably every weekend they could go to a dance somewhere.
Oh, God,
I know, right? I would love that. We didn't have stuff like that when we were growing up.
No.
I mean, we had the firehouse out in Redmond that was all ages, but that was not. That was usually like garage bands and shit that nobody actually wanted to listen to.
Teen night at Boys and Girls Club.
Right.
I was into that for a while.
There was a club downtown Seattle for a little while that was 18 and over, like a dance club.
Oh, yeah.
But it was a scene.
Was it?
Yes. I only went like one time and it was really weird. I was very uncomfortable. Let's just put it that way. It was very uncomfortable.
Okay.
So they met at a dance. Mela and Elli met at a dance. They've been friends for about 3 years. So Mela came by the house. She lived really nearby, within walking, like really close, within walking distance in the same suburban neighborhood where Elli and her family lived. And she came by just before 7, and she asked Elli to head into the city center with her. She had some betting slips to drop off. Not really sure what that's about.
Don't know.
And she wanted to catch a movie, and Elli was all about it. So she grabbed her dark green trench coat, rubber boots, gray wool gloves, and the gray wool hat that she had crocheted herself. And the two set off on their walk into the city.
Oh.
Elli already had plans that night to meet up with another friend of hers, Annalisa. So she and Mela hooked up with Annalisa, and all three of them continued into town. And once they got there, they took care of those betting slips, and Elli and Annalisa bought some for themselves. And then they made a stop at Valio's bar, which was quite busy that night. Sounds like one of their regular hangouts.
Okay.
They tried to go catch a movie, but the three couldn't agree on which movie to see. I guess Annalisa and Elli wanted to see movies that Mela had already seen. So they went to a coffee shop instead. They only stayed for like 15 minutes though, because there was no one there that they knew. Like it wasn't happening enough for them, right? Like, no, I don't know who these people is. It's not where it's at. So the three of them are at the corner outside of Valio's bar, and Mela looked up at the clock tower, in the town clock tower, and she saw that it was exactly 9 p.m. And she said her feet were cold and it was time to go home.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm sure it's cold. We're talking about northern Finland in December.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Right?
Freezing. Yeah.
So she starts walking, and Elli hangs back for a sec so she can talk to Annalisa real quick and say goodbye or whatever. And then she kind of scurries to catch up with Mela so they could walk home together. So there's this point on the way to their houses where Elli could have taken a different road than Mela to get to her house, because they lived on different streets, and it was a more well-lit route. And Mela suggested that Elli should take it because it was more well-lit. But it would have made Ellie's walk home longer. So she kept walking down the darker street with Mela towards Mela's house. And they passed this shortcut. So there's this shortcut from that darker road. It's like what they kept referring to as like, and I will refer to as a footpath that goes over a set of train tracks, and it like cuts across. Instead of her having to go around on the fully on the road, she can cut across on this little footpath, and it comes out like right in front of her house.
Okay.
So she walks down this darker street with Mela. She walks past the footpath a little ways to like keep talking and walking with Mela as Mela gets closer to her house. And then Elli doubles back, says goodbye to Mela, and doubles back. And she goes back to the footpath to cross the train tracks and go to her house.
Right.
So about 2 hours later, around 11:45 p.m., Ellie's mother finally makes it home from her very long day at work. And she uses the same footpath that Elli did. Everybody used it. Everyone in the neighborhood that lived on that street used this footpath. It was a very well used path.
And her mom is walking to work.
Her mom is walking as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Because her work was only like a mile or two away.
Okay.
So she got home. She found her sons were all asleep in their beds, but Elli was not home. But Ellie's mom didn't really think anything of it, because Elli often stayed the night at Annalisa's place, and she just assumed that she must be staying there again. She was a little bit like, because normally she would take some like bedding if she were staying that night at Annalisa's, and it didn't look like she'd done that, but she wasn't like super worried about it. I mean, Ellie's 20.
She's 20, yeah.
She's going to college. They live in this tiny little town where, you know, nothing bad ever happens, and she goes out with her friends all the time, and it's fine.
Yeah.
So if you think the days get short in Seattle in the winter, we ain't got nothing on northern Finland. Sunrise the next morning on Thursday, December 8th, so this is before solstice, was after 10 a.m.
After 10 a.m. was
10 a.m.
sunrise?
Yes.
Shit.
And even after the sun came out, the light levels were very low. So it was 12:50 p.m. when a school-aged boy discovered a woman's body partly covered by snow.
Oh.
And it was Elli.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
God.
Her body was less than 8 feet off that path, the shortcut between the dark street she walked with Mela and the street her house sat on. Mm-hmm.
She had just turned onto that path?
Well, like she was off the path, like 8 feet. Mm-hmm. So somewhere within the path, right? She was like off of it, but like 8 feet off of it. So somewhere on that, it was something like maybe 110 yards. Yeah, it was a total of about 110 yards that the path ran from one street to the next.
Got it. Okay.
This was the footpath she and her mother both took all the time, and everybody else in the neighborhood too, and her body was no more than 100 feet from her own home.
No. God. Oh.
Elli was found face down in the snow, with snow covering her body, both snow that had fallen in the time after her murder, as well as snow piled onto her head and upper body by the killer.
Huh.
She had stab wounds to her face, throat, the right side of the neck, behind her ear, and her back.
Oh my God. Stabbing of the face.
I know.
No.
I know.
Poor Elli.
It was the wound behind her ear that would be the cause of death.
Holy shit.
Her crocheted wool hat was on the ground, and her gloves were soaked with blood and clearly had been slashed at, so Elli had definitely tried to defend herself.
Yeah.
She had no signs of being sexually assaulted, and there was no evidence that this was robbery motivated. Her purse and her watch, all her money, which was a decent amount, and all her jewelry were all accounted for on or around her body.
Huh.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. At the scene, police found a sheath for a Mora brand knife, some large footprints, and bicycle tracks in the snow, but they did not find the murder weapon.
Okay.
A week later, someone gave the police a Mora knife that had been found on a long distance bus driving between Kemi and Muonio. Sorry, I don't do Finnish. But there was no real way to know if that was the murder weapon. I mean, this was 1955. The forensic science was practically non-existent.
Right.
Right. And not only that, but Mora was a hugely popular brand of knife in Finland. They had been crafted in Östner, Sweden for over a century. They were standard for many craftsmen, and they were handmade for a long time. They were handmade like generation after generation. And beyond crafts, they were also very often used for camping and like survivalist types, right? Kind of like a Bowie knife.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Totally. Yeah.
So the police publicly requested the owner of this lost knife to come forward, but they didn't have any takers.
I mean,
Can you imagine? Oh, hey, that's my knife.
That's my knife.
I know.
It's like your guy last week that's like, can I have my money back?
Right?
I mean, some people are that stupid. But...
It's true. I mean, it's possible. It's always worth a shot, I suppose, right?
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah.
So what made this murder even more confounding was how tight the window was on the actual murder itself, right? Like the timeline. So Elli and Mela walked back from town at 9 p.m., which would get them back to their neighborhood no earlier than 9:30. It's a good half-hour walk. But likely a little later than that by the time Elli was like walking by herself on the shortcut, right? Because she'd walked past with Mela and then like came back. So it was definitely after 9:30.
Okay.
The woman who rented from the Immo, so they had a woman who rented from them because they had a whole house, and I think she rented like an outbuilding or whatever, like a little like cabin or something on the property. She said that she heard a woman cry out just as she was heading inside from being out for the night herself, and that this was between 9:45 and 9:50. So it's assumed that this was Elli crying out in surprise at her attacker, right?
Yeah. Oh God, that's chilling.
So like, that's like right after she like walked on the path.
Yeah. You would think that her friend might have heard her too.
Yeah.
I mean, something. Yeah.
So another woman in the neighborhood who had passed near the crime scene around 9:45 said she didn't see or hear anything unusual at all. And her daughter had been outside shoveling snow until like 10 after 10. And she had also noticed nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay.
Mela said no one had followed them back from town. She didn't hear the sounds of footsteps behind them on their walk home. The police even dug into Mela a little bit to make sure she was telling the whole truth, right? And she told them in detail about a radio program she had listened to when she got home at 9:45. And they verified that, you know, she wasn't making that up. I mean, that was a time when you could literally use a radio program as your, like,
As your alibi.
Yeah. Right?
I know. Yeah.
So even more odd is that it was evening, but it wasn't late. People were still out and about, you know, like clearing snow and coming and going from town. And there would have been more people than usual because of that Christmas party that all the kids were going to, that factory was hosting. Even Ellie's brothers had been on that very same footpath that Ellie was murdered on less than an hour before her murder.
Oh, jeez. God, it's
and again,
scary.
This is a suburban path. Like everyone in proximity to the shortcut used it when they walked in and out of and like through this neighborhood. The murderer literally would have had to arrive, commit the crime, and leave all unseen in the middle of this neighborhood.
God, it's so bizarre.
It's so weird. So one thing that did come up as police went digging into possible clues was that both Mela and Annalisa told police that Ellie had been unusually quiet and seemed a bit down all night and not her usual upbeat self. So a little more digging revealed a torn up note in Ellie's school bag from a young man she attended classes with. The police described this note as malicious, which led to them questioning this dude. And it turns out Ellie had caught him skimming money for himself from the funds they were collecting for class photos. And Ellie had taken the matter to the student union. Like she made sure he got in trouble. Yeah. But dude had an alibi. He was like home with his parents all night.
Listening to the radio.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Shit.
So the police were thorough. They even looked into her dad's police record to see if something significant could be found there that might lead them to a possible suspect, maybe a case of revenge. But that came up empty. And it was clear to the public that the police were really struggling to find a motive or a suspect.
Yeah. It's weird.
I know, it's so weird. So some random truck driver was picked up by police, and his dirty looking clothes were tested for blood and came back negative. Now, remember, it's 1955. That was literally the extent of what they could test for. Just the presence of blood, right?
Or not even. Just, you look dirty.
Right. Let's see if it's maybe blood. Clothes were taken from others. Homes were searched. Knives were analyzed. At least 60 people were questioned pretty quickly. Witnesses reported a strange man who jumped off a train mid-journey. Another said a man was conducting his own personal inquiry. The police file was full of false reports and rumors. And then the case went cold.
Of course.
Yeah. The thing about Ellie's unsolved murder is that her case was kind of forgotten. A little over 2 years prior to her murder, another young woman, Kaliki Sari, had been killed a little over 300 miles from Kemi in Isojoki. She was killed barely more than a mile away from her home while walking home shortly after parting ways with her friend, just like Ellie. But while Ellie's murder has faded into obscurity, Kaliki's murder remains one, or Kailiki, I'm not sure. Her murder remains one of the most famous unsolved murders in Finland. Yeah, it's weird.
Why one and not the other?
Well, there's speculation around that. I guess Kailiki was very, like, she was younger than Ellie, and she was also, I think she might have been writing she was she was very religious. Like, she came from a religious family. She had been coming home from the church or something like that. So maybe it was just like more innocent or something,
Sure.
Oh,
yeah.
plus her body wasn't actually found for like 5 months after she went missing.
Oh.
Right.
Oh.
So in July of 1959, so less than 4 years after Elli's murder, 2 more young women would be murdered. Rita Pakkanen, age 23, and Aini Nisonen, age 21, while they were camping. This one was really brutal. This is a pretty big known case in Finland as well. There was an arrest in this case. Eric Holmstrom, 35, was charged with the double murder of the 2 women in November of 1959. So a few months later, in February of 1960, so at this point we're 5 years out from Elli's murder, the police would interrogate him on suspicions of Elli's murder. According to the police, Holstrom owned a Mora knife that was missing its sheath, but Holstrom claimed he had not acquired the knife until 1959, a full 4 years after Elli's murder. Additionally, police found witnesses who say they saw a man fitting Holstrom's description in the Kemi area, acting suspiciously around the time of Elli's murder. One of them even claimed to have seen him coming away from the murder scene.
What?
And it's hard to know if these witnesses only identified him as the suspicious men that they saw, like after he had been arrested for these other murders.
Right.
And
Exactly.
Holstrom denied that he was even in Kemi, and instead he was at home in Musala, which was in western Finland, many, many, many miles away. But he didn't really have a good alibi. So it was kind of wishy-washy. It was like really on the fence. Like, could this guy have been the one? But also, were they just really desperate to pin it on someone? Anyone?
Of course they were.
Of course they were. Because it was so cold, right? At that point, we're talking
also, how can you really think of it? I mean, if somebody asked me right now what I was doing 4 years ago on some specific day,
seriously,
I don't fucking know what I did yesterday.
Seriously, I don't know what I did 6 hours ago.
Nope. There is no way.
There's no way.
There's no way.
Yeah, totally. So then in June of 1960, so like March, April, May, like 4 months later, 4 months after this interrogation, right? The Lake Bodom murders happened.
What's that?
And anyone who's steeped in true crime should be familiar with that one. It is absolutely Finland's most famous unsolved murder. And it's the murder of like 3 out of 4 teens who were camping at Lake Bodom. They were like axe murdered in their tent, and like one of them survived, and he for a long time was believed to have actually been the culprit, even though he also had wounds and claimed that he was also attacked and just happened to survive it. Look into it, Lake Bodom, Bodom.
Okay.
It's super famous. Like lots of other podcasts have covered it in great depth. Never been solved. And this may have also led to Elli's unsolved murder fading further from the public's mind. So a year later, in May of 1961, Holstrom died by suicide in the midst of his trial for the murders of Rita and Aine. So the trial stalled out, and any chance of finding out if he was Elli's murderer went to the grave with him.
Yeah. God damn it.
Also, there was significant evidence that Holstrom was innocent of the murders he was charged with. A belief publicly stated by both the prosecution and the judge after his suicide in 1961.
Seriously?
Seriously.
What the fuck? This guy just got railroaded?
Yeah. In 1972, 2 of the original 3 Kemi Police Department officers that investigated Elli's murder stated that her murder should be reinvestigated, saying that the perpetrators had been protected during the original 1955 investigation. But these 2 never actually made a formal request for an investigation into that allegation. Some thought that a police officer may have been involved in the killing.
Shit.
There is no physical evidence left from Elli's case that could help solve this 65-year-old cold case. And that is the story of the unsolved murder of Elli Immo.
Wow, sister. Well, that was fucking awful.
I'm sorry.
So, but they looked into any kind of like sour relationships with her dad as an officer, right? Is that what?
Right. When they lived in the border town before he died and they moved, he was a police constable there, and his main focus was like border smugglings and like illegal border crossings.
Interesting. Wow. Fucking awful. Ellie sounds like she was really fucking cool.
I know. She does sound really fucking cool. I would totally go dancing with Ellie.
I would too. Yeah. Oh
and it's really, it's unfortunate, right? Because there are so many cold cases out there, even those really old ones that like are, if there's any evidence still left, could be done. We could, that whole like DNA genealogy, DNA mapping or whatever. I mean, they're still solving like really old cases, but Ellie's case doesn't have any good physical evidence for them to, test that would ever help them solve it. So no one will ever know who did that to her.
No, poor Ellie. God,
I know.
That's fucking awful. Thanks for that, sister.
You're so welcome, sister.
I've got some chaos that's a bummer.
Oh, right. Oh, it's another double Debbie Downer. Double Debbie Downer. Triple D.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And I'm also headed across a few ponds. Yeah.
Great. Love it. Where are we going, sis?
We are going to Kalgoorlie, Western Australia.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So Matthew and his daughter Shannon, they are leaving for an overnight fishing trip. They had an awesome father-daughter relationship, and Shannon really loved taking these trips with her dad. They would do weekends together all the time, fishing and camping. Her parents are recently separated, but the parents have a good relationship too. And this was something that Shannon did with her dad all the time. So
how
mom
old is
was
Shannon?
like, she's like 7.
Okay.
Yeah. So her mom's like, yeah, bye, have fun. No worries, right? So they live just on the edge of the desert, which Matthew knows very well. They're going about 40 miles into the Outback to camp for the night and then head back the next day.
There's not dingoes in this story, is there?
No.
Just checking.
No.
Just checking.
I mean, no, not this time. This time.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, God. That would be the icing on this shit cake. So Matthew is about to move 1,500 miles away, I think, for a job offer. So he wanted to make this last trip extra special.
Oh, like she's going to stay in Western Australia with her mom and he's going to move to like Eastern Australia.
So, yeah.
Bummer.
I know.
Okay.
I know. And he totally looks like who was the guy? Steve Irwin. He totally does.
Yeah.
I get those vibes from him with like the brown like cargo vest and all the things, right?
Yeah, for sure. Quintessential like Outbacker.
Yeah.
Australian Outbacker.
Sure,
yeah.
Yes, would be in good hands if you're out there with Matthew. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So they go to his favorite fishing hole. They fish for the day and then they have a campfire that night and they lay under the stars while her dad points out all the different constellations. And then the next morning they pack up and get ready to head home. But Shannon is kind of bummed because she didn't catch any fish. So Matthew decides to take a detour another 50 miles into the Outback to a different fishing hole.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I mean, this is a chaos story, so it can't. This cannot bode well for where this goes.
No. So the desert covers more than 100,000 square miles, and it's one of the hottest places on Earth.
Okay.
Okay.
Nope.
Would you rather be?
We're gonna play Would You Rather. Pause.
No, ready?
Everybody,
Would
time
you rather?
out. We're gonna play a game of Would You Rather.
No, I think about this often because would you rather be?
I hate the desert.
Okay, so would you rather be overly hot or overly cold?
Oh, cold. Oh, please, cold. I mean, I'm always cold and I hate it and I live under an electric blanket home. But the thing is that if I'm cold, I can put on an electric blanket and I can be warm. If I am hot, without the like use of air conditioning or something, like there's no, like you can only take off, like eventually you're naked. There's no more clothes to take off. You can't take off your skin. But if I'm cold, I can pile it on until I'm warm.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask this differently.
Okay.
You don't have an electric blanket in this scenario. Would you rather be stranded in an avalanche or stranded in the desert? And you've got like your normal, like what you thought was a day trip gear with you for both
avalanche.
scenarios.
No, avalanche. Now, avalanche is
really
well, not avalanche because most people suffocate in an avalanche. But if we're talking about
not a literal avalanche, a blizzard.
If I'm stuck, blizzard. I am choosing blizzard. I am choosing blizzard because here's the other thing. If you die from the cold, you just kind of slip into a numb, painless unconsciousness and sleep until you die. If you're in the heat, you literally burn first.
Yeah.
I'm
and
choosing
you start getting
cold.
Delirious.
Yes,
all right.
I am choosing cold. Final answer.
Okay, final answer. Great. Okay, so it's one of the hottest places on Earth, but Matthew is well prepared. He's got water, food. He's got 4 spare tires, and he knows the desert real well.
Does he have air conditioning, like a portable unit, or?
No.
Okay.
No.
So he's not that prepared.
Well, what are you going to do? Okay, listen. Okay. Wow. Okay.
Sorry. Look, I know it's going to turn into a big bummer, so I'm trying to keep it from being a bummer yet.
I understand.
Okay.
I understand.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right. He's prepared. 4 tires.
He's prepared.
Extra.
Yep. He's in an SUV, but the terrain is super rough. So they drive about 2 hours deeper into the desert and they get a flat tire.
That's okay.
But,
he has 4 spares.
Oh, it's actually 3. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. He has 3 spares.
Okay, well, he has 3 spares and he has 1 flat tire. He's doing all right.
He's doing all right. And this, from the thing that I was watching, the rocks, and I don't think that an SUV doesn't help if you're driving over rocks that are so sharp that your tires are popping. Like, tires are tires, right? Like, I don't think you're supposed to, we'll get to it.
Okay.
So he gets a flat tire. He changes the tire in the heat, and then they get on their way again. And he is confident that he can still find this watering hole. But with all of the sharp rocks in the desert, they end up getting another flat tire.
Uh-oh. Well, he has 2 spares. He's fine.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, at this point, it's midday. It's the hottest time of the day, and it's 115 degrees. Gross. So he changes the tire again, and he still doesn't want to disappoint Shannon, so he decides to keep looking for the watering hole.
Oh, for God's sake. Okay, but he has to get out of there, and now he only has 1 spare tire, and he's already popped 2.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Those are not good numbers.
No, it's not going well.
Okay.
I mean, at this point of the story, things are going real well compared to what happens.
Compared to what happens next? Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn it.
So by late afternoon, they are deep into the desert and they still haven't found this water. And now Matthew isn't sure that he knows where he is anymore.
Okay. And why didn't they just go fish back in the same hole they were already at if he caught fish, but she didn't?
No, neither of them did.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. He's trying to make it special. He definitely makes it memorable. So
there's
that.
Shit, sister. You said that. Okay.
Oh my God. So they have 1 spare left. Matthew decides to forget the fishing and to start heading for home.
Good idea.
And then they get another flat tire.
I knew it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the last spare.
Yep.
There's no more squares to spare.
Nope. I can't spare a spare. Nope. So that happens. So, he puts the last one on the car, and just as he thinks he's starting to make some progress, the car gets stuck in the sand.
Oh no! Is it just regular sand or is it quicksand?
No. And then a rodent of an unusual size comes out.
Exactly. You got to watch out for ROUSs in quicksand.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Look, it is Australia. Everything in Australia wants to kill you. So I would not be surprised if it was quicksand. They got stuck in just sand, though?
Yeah, it's stuck in sand.
Okay.
So, yeah, and it's, he's just digging himself further because he's trying to get out. So he decides, fuck it, we're not doing this. And they decide to camp for the night. But he has no way of contacting Shannon's mom because his cell phone isn't working out in the desert.
Okay, but wait a minute. Mr. Outback doesn't have like a sat phone? What year is this?
It's like 97. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Maybe 98.
Okay.
Also, though, it's like they only planned on being 40 miles deep into the one spot that he's very familiar with.
Look, if I've learned anything from I Shouldn't Be Alive, I Survived, and just my own experiences in the mountains, it doesn't matter what you plan for. You should pack for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, I'm sure he does now.
Well, okay. Well, that's hopeful. That means he's alive. Okay, keep going.
So, in the morning, they're able to get out because overnight the cold kind of hardens the sand, so they're able to drive out. And they just barely get moving when they hit a rock and get another flat tire.
But now they don't have any spares.
Correct. Now they're in real shit.
Oh, no.
So Matthew lets the air out of the other tire so that they're balanced because he doesn't have any other option.
Yeah.
And they're off again, but they're crawling along at about 5 miles an hour, and they're still lost in the desert.
Are they running out of gas now?
No, but running the car on flat tires in the heat is putting strain on the engine, and so the car starts overheating, and the radiator needs water.
Okay.
But he only has 20 liters left, and he knows that if they get stuck for another night, he and Shannon will need that to drink.
Yep.
But the car is their only way out.
Can he pee in the radiator?
No.
I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
Well, he puts 10 liters in the radiator and saves 10 liters for drinking.
Okay. I still think you should have peed in it, but
I do too. Well, I mean, but then
I don't know. What do I know?
I don't know. I don't know if he has anything to pee out if he's
Fair
rationing
enough.
his own water.
Fair enough. Just spit in there a lot.
Oh, I don't know if he has that either. So they get on their way again. They go a little further and the engine is really strained and needs more water. So he pulls over and puts a little more in. By midday, they are still crawling along and the temperature is close to 120 degrees. And
Shut
Matthew
up! That is disgusting.
Disgusting.
No.
And all of a sudden... Oh,
remember
sorry.
It was like 109 degrees in Redmond that day when we had that weird heat wave like 2 summers ago in June.
I was moving Jeremy.
Yeah, remember we came over to your house. We had Sissy Day like the day before or something. It was it was 109 degrees. It was like 110 or 112 down in Portland. Like roads were buckling and deteriorating and like vinyl siding was literally melting off the sides of houses and shit.
Yes. And you could not get a fan or an air conditioner or anything anywhere to save your life.
No.
Or bags of ice or anything.
Nothing. Everybody just like laid down on the floor and like breathed like really shallowly for like 48 hours. Turn off all the appliances.
Just laid down and partially died for 48 hours. Seriously, fuck. Yep, you're right.
Like broccoli.
Heat is worse.
Heat is worse.
Okay. Yeah, it's worse. So they're crawling along and smoke is coming into the car.
Uh-oh. So
he stops and he yells for Shannon to get out and he's grabbing everything he can from the car that are their supplies right before the car explodes into flames.
Oh my God.
So they're both standing there watching their only way out exploding.
Oh my God.
It just keeps getting worse. It's down in a blaze of glory.
I don't know about glory.
Not
There's
glory.
no glory
Yeah.
here. It's just a blaze.
It's just a fucking blaze.
Oh my God.
Oh, and he's like trying to be like chill, like, no worries, I got this, right? Like not wanting to scare her, but she can tell like this
is
ain't
reminding
good, right?
me of that captain of the Essex who just sat there in the boat and like watched the boat sink because he just couldn't.
Yeah. There's nothing else to do at this
Just
point.
gonna sit here and watch the demise of our only way home. Like,
Yep, exactly.
oh my
Well,
God.
yeah. So it's not been-
Okay. Would you rather?
Okay.
Would you rather stranded in the desert at 120 degrees? Stranded in the smack dab in the center of the Pacific Ocean in like a 10-foot boat?
Oh, fuck. What am I stranded with? No supplies in
Salty
either of these
bread.
scenarios? Gross.
Salty bread. Saltwater soaked bread.
Oh,
And one other
salt water
person.
will make you start to really lose your goddamn mind. Too.
Yeah.
You know, the ocean has that extra spooky element.
Right, because there's monsters down there.
There's
Below
monsters
the
down
boat.
there, and you can't see anything. And I think I'd rather be in the desert.
Land. I'm picking land.
Land,
100%.
you have a better chance of running into another human.
100%. Yes, we're in
Yeah.
agreement. Yep. Okay, so
Okay,
cold over hot, land over water. Keep going.
Yes. Okay, great. So it's been 36 hours now since the time that Shannon was supposed to be home. Her mom, Irene, has called the police. Shannon and Matthew were able to salvage a few cans of food and 2 liters of water and just the top cover of their tent before the car exploded.
The top cover, like the tarp that you put on top of it to keep the dew
yeah.
from coming in.
Yeah. Oh, they would probably embrace dew at this point.
No shit.
And in this heat, a person needs at least 1 liter of water per hour.
How many liters did they get?
They have 2.
Oh.
Yep. So it's been 2 days now, we're fast forwarding, since they lost the car, and day 5 of being in the Outback.
Oh
So-
my God.
Uh-huh. So they're just laying there, and off in the
They're
distance...
just laying
Matthew-
down on the ground, barely breathing. Right?
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm. It's come to that. Yep. But Matthew sees an old radio tower in the distance. So there's, at this time, they're just laying next to their burnt out car.
Oh my God, because they couldn't
I know.
abandon the vehicle that abandoned them.
Well, no. I'll show you who's the loyal one in this relationship. Well, Matthew was following the rule of if you're lost,
right,
you
like
stay
you
put
stay where you are. Right, you stay where you are
and
so
stay
you
near
can
the
be found.
vehicle because
Yeah.
people will be more likely to see the vehicle. So
Sure.
But he sees this radio tower. He thinks he might be able to climb it, and if he gets to the top, maybe he could get some cell service.
Okay.
But he also knows that because they strayed so far away from their original campsite and fishing spot, he's worried that nobody is going to be looking for them where they're at all. So he decides, I'm going to climb the tower. I have to.
Also, is the tower like burning his hands as he's climbing? Because that's all metal, right?
Well, here's the thing with the tower. So
Okay.
they pack up all their supplies, including their water and their tent.
They still
cover
have
thing.
water at this point?
A
What are
tiny
they-
bit.
Oh my God. What are they doing? Like a cap full a day at this point? Jesus.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They start making their way towards this tower in the heat, but distance in the Outback can be very deceiving. So while the tower looks close by, it actually takes them 4 hours to get to it.
Oh my God.
4 hours, and you've got a little kid.
She's 7. They're just like one giant like sunburn blister, like head to toe at this point, right?
Mm-hmm. There's pictures of her when she's rescued, and she is oh my God, she's the cutest little thing. But anyway, we'll get there.
Okay.
So he climbs to the top with the little strength that he has left. He gets to the highest point so that he can pull out his cell phone and like hold it up in the air. But there is no service, not a single bar.
Right.
Nothing.
They're in the middle of nowhere, literally.
Yep. So he climbs back down. They go back to their burnt car spot, and they spend another night in the desert.
Oh my God. They've walked 4 hours back to the car.
Yeah. So they make it through the night. It's now day 6. They're down to no water and 1 can of food. So they can't do anything but just sit and wait.
Yeah.
Then Matthew sees a search helicopter flying over his head. And he gets up and he's like yelling and waving and all the things. And the helicopter doesn't see them. So he starts a brush fire.
Great. More fire. You know what? I was getting a little cold.
And shit went up in a blaze.
Oh, no.
Real fucking quick.
Oh, no. And now we have, we're calling in the fire department because we're going to keep a whole fucking, forest from burning or something.
Well, no. The helicopter still didn't see them, but it burnt all of their remaining supplies.
Oh, my God! What? What?
I know. It's just like,
what?
I can't. So now it's day 7.
Oh my God.
It's been 12 hours since either of them had any water. And Matthew is pretty positive that it looks like Shannon is going to die.
I mean, you can go 72 hours max without water.
Mm-hmm. In normal heat or a normal temperature.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So, he decides that they're going to start walking in the direction that he saw the helicopter coming from, which is more of an open area. But walking in the heat is only making the dehydration worse. And Shannon is now so weak that she can barely walk. And Matthew is too weak to carry her.
Oh my God.
It's so sad. He would carry her for a few steps and then collapse and try again.
Oh my God.
I know. So now it's been 24 hours since they had water. Matthew has a pocket knife and he thinks about giving her a drink of his own blood, which is something that...
Stop it.
You wanted him to pee into the radiator.
Peeing into the radiator is fine. Drinking blood is next level. No, now we're approaching drawing straws and seeing who gets to get shot so that we can all eat you. This is where we're at. I was like, this is not...
Well,
this puts a whole new meaning to I give my life for my kids. You know what I'm saying? Here, honey pie, have daddy's arm. Daddy loves you.
Daddy loves you. Drink up. Oh Stop God. It. Oh, can you imagine?
No, I cannot imagine.
BT Dubs, I would so cut my arm and give you blood if we were stuck. I would.
I love you so much. I would give you blood.
Love you so much. Wouldn't that be funny if that was the only thing that you've consumed that didn't make you nauseous?
Oh my God.
You're I found the cure for the cause.
I don't have menopause. I'm actually turning into a vampire right now. And I don't feel good because I need blood.
Yes. Probably.
Maybe.
Oh my God.
I'll look into it. I'll test the theory later.
Okay. I have a type O, so I'm universal. So I've got, we're good.
Perfect.
Well, no, he saw in a documentary once of people drinking cow's blood in similar circumstances. So he thought maybe that could work. But,
oh my God.
He tries to cut a vein, but his knife is too dull. And this
guy cannot catch a break.
Mm-mm.
He can't even bloodlet himself.
Nope. Well, also, okay, that's so weird that you should say that because I was just talking about this yesterday. The very first time when I was much younger, when I had to do a blood draw and it was fasting blood draw, I thought that meant don't consume anything. So I didn't have water. And my blood was the consistency of honey or maple syrup.
Oh my God, Amber.
So I don't know, if he's in the desert and he hasn't had water, I don't think he was going to get anything out of that vein, even if he didn't have a dull knife.
That's right.
So,
That's right. Yeah.
So this was his last resort and he finally just fucking loses it. Night comes and Shannon falls asleep. They've got a campfire going and Matthew gets a stick and lights it and starts waving it around in a desperate attempt to get attention from anyone. Okay. Here's the other thing. This isn't
who? Like God at this point?
I mean, this I
an
saw
alligator. I don't know. Like an emu? Is it maybe the emus will come?
Here's maybe the dingoes will come and take your baby. If you're lost and you're actually trying to make progress, why aren't you walking at night? If you're in the desert, shouldn't you walk at night and rest?
Yes, you absolutely should walk at night and rest under something sort of shady during the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
saw a thing about kangaroos with like the thing where they filmed them in that like 125 degree, 130 degree heat. And they're like laying down. They've like kind of dug themselves like little ditches in the dirt to like lay in. And
that happens here too.
Yeah, and they use like infrared to look at them, and they actually like lick themselves like in like very strategic areas of their body, and so that they can like cool down their blood.
Interesting.
By licking like areas where their veins run close to the surface of their skin, because like as the saliva evaporates, there's that cooling effect.
Yeah. Animals are so fucking smart.
I know.
So he's waving a fire stick, and then he sees a car headed towards him with headlights. But the car veers in the other direction and doesn't see him.
Oh my God.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So they make it through the night. It's the next morning. It's day 8. It's been 2 days with no water, and Shannon's organs are shutting down.
Great.
They find their way to a track that looks like it might be a desert road, and Matthew thinks this is where the road that the car was driving on the night before. So he decides that he's not leaving the tracks.
Yep. Great.
Yeah. On this day, the heat had increased, and it was fucking boiling hot, and Matthew knows he needs to get Shannon to cool down or she will die. So he digs a little hole for her in the sand. He puts her in the hole and covers her up with dirt to keep her cool.
Mm-hmm.
And Matthew's laying on the ground next to her, and he just fucking gives up. Matthew, just as he's kind of starting to fade out, a car comes driving up the desert road, and it is someone from Search and Rescue.
Whoa!
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Just in the nick of time.
Just in the nick of time. Yep. They obviously give them water right away. They get them to the hospital, and doctors say that Shannon had only a few hours to live.
Oh, my God.
Yep. Yeah. Matthew and Shannon are still really close, and they still go camping together. I fucking wouldn't. But they are sure
I'm
to
like,
bring
how is he
extra
even
supplies.
allowed to have visitation with his daughter after that?
Well, the guardian ad
sorry.
litem is with them on their trips.
I should hope so.
Oh my gosh. No, I felt so bad for this guy. He really tried to have like a special...
mean, look, he kept going over those rocks every time. He kept puncturing a tire. What was he...
I don't know. It's my chaos case.
Oh my God, Sissy. Was that I Shouldn't Be Alive?
Yeah, season 4, episode 1.
Look, every episode of I Shouldn't Be, almost every single story on I Shouldn't Be Alive always starts out with somebody doing something fucking dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Every time. Every once in a while, it's like it is random chance, but usually it's and this guy, I mean, I feel bad, and the poor girl, and like what a horrible like consequence for making a dumb decision. But the insisting on driving over these rocks that keep popping your tires, like in the middle of nowhere, you're not sure where you are. Like what are you even doing? What are we doing?
I don't know. Yeah.
Wow. That was, well, I had to take my sweater off because that was just like my blood was boiling. I was getting too warm. That was a lot.
Try drinking some later. See how it feels.
Some of my blood?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to. That might be just the nourishment I need.
I think so too.
Well, sister, that wasn't as much of a bummer as I thought. I mean, nobody died.
Nope.
Nobody died. Well, it went down in a blaze. Not of glory. There was no glory.
Not of glory.
Involved,
No,
just a blaze.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, thank you for that, sister.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
That was, yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no problem. Do you have anything else for the good of the order?
I mean, the usual stuff. We got the socials. Come and find us and hang out with us on the Facebook and the Instagram and the Twitters, Crime, Wine, and Chaos, and all the places. And send us some mail. Tell us what you think. Give us a suggestion. Send us love. Send us hate. Whatever. Talk to us. Crime, Wine, and Chaos at gmail.com.
That's exactly right. That's correct. No, not question mark. You got it. You got it, sister.
And you can get my hot takes on Twitter if you want to just follow me. It's MISSGNOMERS, Misnomers. And I think that's all the things. We're still working on the stuff we want to announce to you guys. That's coming very soon.
Coming soon.
Very soon. We got some
2023 is going to be a cool year.
Amber has big plans, and I'm here to support. I'm a supporting role here. I love her big plans, and I want her to achieve her big plans. And you guys,
thank you, sister.
So, let's make it happen. Well, sissy, we did it.
I love you.
I love you too. And that was chaotic.
Chaotic. Bye.
Jesus, man.
Bye. Sorry.
I'm really warm. I'm kind of thirsty.
Drink
Bye.
blood.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Crime, Wine, and Chaos. The podcast art was done by Joshua M. Davis. Music by Paul Abner. You can find us on Facebook at Crime, Wine, and Chaos, on Instagram at Crime, Wine, and Chaos Pod, or check out our website at crimewineandchaos.com. Cheers!